There are Hall of Famers in the NFL. Guys who made plays, guys who won championships. And then there's Shannon Sharpe, the man who talked trash like a rapper, worked like a farmer, and played like a monster. Before the TV shows, before the memes, before Club Shay Shay, there was a seventh-round pick who changed football forever. This is how a country boy from Georgia became one of the most dangerous weapons the NFL had ever seen. Glenville, Georgia. That's where Shannon Sharpe came from. Not a place most people have heard of. A small town, quiet. And back in the late 1960s, when Shannon was born, it was poor. His mother, Rena, was a migrant farm worker. She worked the fields with her hands. His father, he wasn't really in the picture. And his grandmother, Mary Porter, she raised him. Shannon's told this story before, and he never sugarcoats it. He said something like, "We were so poor that when a robber broke into our house, we ended up robbing the robber." Now that's a joke on the surface, but it's also the absolute truth about his childhood. That's the level of struggle we're talking about. No safety net, no backup plan. Your survival depended on being smarter and tougher than everybody around you. That work ethic, it got embedded in Shannon's DNA. So, Shannon goes to Savannah State, not the University of Georgia, not Auburn, not Miami. Savannah State, Division II. If you're not at a big school, the scouts aren't paying attention to you the same way. Shannon played football there, baseball, track and field. He was an athlete. But who was watching? Almost nobody. Now his older brother Sterling. That was a completely different story. Sterling went to South Carolina. Sterling was a prospect. Sterling got drafted in the first round by the Green Bay Packers. Sterling became a Pro Bowl wide receiver. So Shannon? For a long time, he was just Sterling's brother. That's all people knew him as. Not by his own accomplishments, not by his own name, just as the sibling of the guy who actually made it. And Shannon felt that. He's talked about living in that shadow. 1990, the NFL draft. Shannon Sharpe gets picked by the Denver Broncos in the 7th round. Pick 192 overall, the 7th round. That's where teams are throwing darts. You're not building the future. You're drafting maybes. Guys who might stick, guys who might not. It's basically a Hail Mary. Denver takes a chance on this kid from Savannah State. And for the first couple years, it looked like maybe they got it wrong. 1991. Shannon's barely getting on the field. They've got him as a wide receiver, which doesn't fit his body at all. He's not fast enough for that position. He's not built for it. So he's just existing, practicing, getting some snaps in garbage time. That's it. And everybody's saying the same thing. He's not going to make it. He's Sterling's brother, but he doesn't have the talent. He's a bust. He's a body on the roster. The media knows it. The fans know it. And Shannon, he's hearing it. He's wondering if maybe they're right. Maybe he's not cut out for this level. That's a dark place, man. You made the NFL, but you're expendable. You're invisible. You're a 7th-round pick that could get cut tomorrow, and nobody would care. Then 1992 happens. Dan Reeves, the head coach, makes one decision that changes everything. He moves Shannon from wide receiver to tight end. Now, this might sound simple. It's just a position change, right? But it's huge. It's Reeves looking at Shannon and saying, "I see something different here. I see who you're supposed to be." Because tight end wasn't what it is now. This was the early 90s. Tight ends were big, slow dudes who blocked. That was their entire job. But Reeves saw an athlete who was big enough to block, fast enough to create separation, and talented enough to make plays. He was designing a position around Shannon's skill set. And when Shannon stepped into that tight end role, something just clicked. He was suddenly everywhere, making catches, getting yards, scoring touchdowns. He went from a guy who might get cut in the offseason to a guy who was actually producing. By 1993, just 3 years after being drafted in the 7th round, Shannon Sharpe made the All-Pro team. And that same year, his brother Sterling made All-Pro too. Both of them. Both Sharpe brothers playing at the highest level. Both Pro Bowlers. Both All-Pro selections. That narrative completely flipped. You're not hearing, "He's just Sterling's brother" anymore. You're hearing, the Sharpe brothers are dominating the NFL. Shannon had proven something, not to anybody else, to himself. But then life threw a punch that had nothing to do with football. In 1994, Sterling Sharpe suffered a neck injury that ended his career. Late in the season, Sterling experienced temporary paralysis in both arms after a collision. Doctors discovered he had 2 loose vertebrae at the top of his spinal column. Sterling was only 29 years old when his career ended. And Shannon, he's talked about this moment many times. He said, "I played football because my brother played." That's not poetry. That's the honest truth. Sterling was his North Star, the proof that a Sharpe could make it, the example. And suddenly that was taken away. What Shannon did after Sterling's injury is the key to understanding who he became. He didn't fade, he didn't disappear, he didn't get quiet. No, he went the complete opposite direction. He became louder, more aggressive, more himself. And this is when Shannon started doing something nobody had really seen a tight end do. He started creating personality, entertainment, confidence, swagger. He was changing the game while he was playing it. From 1996 to 1998, Shannon was playing the best football of his career. But more than that, he was having fun with it. He understood something most players didn't get at that time. The game was changing. It wasn't just about being the best athlete anymore. It was about being interesting, being memorable, being a personality. And Shannon figured that out early. There's this moment that perfectly captures this era. It's a game against the New England Patriots. The Broncos are absolutely destroying them. And Shannon's so amped up, so in the zone, that he gets caught on a hot mic. He yells something like, "Tss." People talked about that moment more than they talked about a lot of his actual plays. It became a thing, a moment. But the key is, he backed it up. He wasn't just talking. He was producing, making catches in crucial moments, getting tough yards, being a weapon that defenses had to account for. 1998, Shannon wins back-to-back Super Bowls with the Denver Broncos. Not as a role player, as a key player, a guy making plays when it mattered most, alongside John Elway, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. And they had this connection, this understanding. Elway knew where Shannon would be. 2 Super Bowl rings, multiple Pro Bowls, all-pro selections. This is the peak of Shannon Sharpe, the player. But then something happens that reveals who Shannon really is as a human being. After winning that second Super Bowl, after reaching the absolute pinnacle, Shannon did something that showed his true character. He gave his 1997 Super Bowl ring to his brother Sterling. Sterling couldn't play anymore. Sterling's career was done. But Sterling had been there first. Sterling had shown him the way. Sterling had been the big brother, the inspiration, the reason Shannon even started playing football. So Shannon took that ring, one of the greatest achievements of his life, and he gave it to Sterling. Shannon later explained it. Super Bowl 32 was a victory made long before stepping on that field. It was earned with my brother guiding me as a kid in Glenville, Georgia, and as a 7th-round pick out of Savannah State. Even at the pinnacle, that ring was always his. That's who Shannon Sharpe is. That's the kind of person he is. And that's something you never forget. Shannon didn't just fade away after those Denver Super Bowls. A lot of people thought he was done. He was still elite. Then he finished his career where it started, back in Denver. Came full circle. Played out the final years with the team that believed in him when he was just a 7th-round pick nobody wanted. When Shannon retired in 2003, here's what the resume looked like. 815 receptions, 10,060 receiving yards, 62 touchdown catches, 8 Pro Bowls. He retired as the NFL leader in receptions, receiving yards and receiving touchdowns by a tight end, 3 Super Bowl championships, a 14-year career. He ranks in the top 5 all-time among tight ends. Some people put him even higher. 2011, Shannon Sharpe gets inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Standing there in that golden jacket, giving his speech, he's thanking his grandmother, Mary Porter. He's thanking Sterling. He's talking about where he came from, about the struggle, about the work. And you can see the emotion on his face, because this kid from Georgia, the one who came from nothing, who was raised by his grandmother, who was a 7th-round pick everybody doubted, he made it. He's officially immortal. But here's where most people miss the real story. Shannon didn't just disappear after football like most guys. He didn't retire and fade away. He came on TV, started talking about the game, started sharing opinions, started being himself on camera. So Shannon evolved. He became a personality in a completely different way. He co-hosted Skip and Shannon, Undisputed on Fox Sports 1 with Skip Bayless from 2016 to 2023. He became a fixture, a voice people respected. And then, this is important, he became a prominent figure in the sports podcast space, hosting Club Shay Shay and Nightcap, a platform where he could have conversations his way, not filtered, not watered down, just Shannon talking to people, being curious, being funny, being authentic. And suddenly, there's a whole generation of people who know Shannon Sharpe, not because they watched him play tight end in the 90s, but because they watch him on their phones every single week. He stayed relevant, he adapted, he became iconic in a completely different way. So here's the thing that really gets me about Shannon Sharpe's story. Everybody talks about how the game evolved, how tight ends became more athletic, how they got faster, how the NFL became more about entertainment and personality. The game did change. Shannon Sharpe was pioneering what a tight end could be while it was happening. Before Travis Kelce, before Rob Gronkowski became a bigger personality, before tight ends were fully understood as complete athletes who could also be entertainers, there was Shannon Sharpe figuring it out. And he didn't just become successful, he became legendary. He won 3 Super Bowls. He made the Hall of Fame. He became a voice that millions of people listened to. He made millions of people laugh. And through it all, and this is the key part, he never forgot where he came from. He never became somebody else. He never turned his back on his family. You will never find another person who was all of those things at the same time, while also staying true to who he was at his core. That's what makes Shannon Sharpe different. And that's why, no matter how the game changes, no matter how many tight ends come after him, there will genuinely never be another Shannon Sharpe. These aren't just football stories. They're about people, real people, who overcame real things, who stayed true to themselves, who changed how we see a position in football just by being authentically who they were. If you want more stories like this, real stories, not the ESPN highlight reel version, then subscribe to Kicker Throne. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. See you on the next one.